Today's lesson is over point of view. During this lesson, you are going to learn the different types of point of view, and you're going to get the definitions and examples of each different type. So what is point of view? Point of view is the narrator's position in relating to how the story is told. Depending on the point of view, a story can be changed drastically. Let's examine the different ways an author can narrate a story. The first is first person. First person point of view is from one character's perspective. Usually, it uses first person pronouns, such as I, me, my, mine, we, our, and ours. Next, I have an example of how first person is used in an excerpt from Little Red Riding Hood. I opened the door to Grandmother's room and stepped inside. I squinted at Grandma in the dark room. "Hello, my dear, come closer." She patted the bedspread beside her. I moved closer to the bed until I could see her better. "What big eyes you have today, Grandma." "All the better to see you with, my dear." As you can tell, in this example, the author uses I, which lets us know that it is told from Little Red Riding Hood's perspective. The next type of point of view is second person. In second person, the author stops the story and talks directly to the reader. They usually use pronouns such as you and your. Here's an example of how second person would look in a text. You walk into a room and you see two doors before you. A, choose the first door. If you choose the first door, you're supposed to flip to page 27, or B, choose the second door. If you choose the second door, you're supposed to flip to page 35. Ultimately, in second person, you are one of the characters in the story. Next is third person. There are 3 different types of third person point of view. The first is third person limited, which is also from one person's perspective. Third person limited can also be known as subjective third person. Third person limited uses third person pronouns, such as he, she, they, it, his, hers, and theirs. Here's an example from Little Red Riding Hood how the same passage using first person would be using third person limited. Little Red Riding Hood opened the door to Grandmother's room and stepped inside. She sniffed lightly. There was a strange smell in the room that she didn't like. She squinted at Grandma. Why was the room so dark? "Hello, my dear, come closer." Grandma patted the bedspread beside her. Grandma's voice was huskier than normal. Well, she was sick after all. Little Red moved closer to the bed until she could see Grandma. What was wrong with Grandma's eyes? "What big eyes you have today, Grandma." "All the better to see you with, my dear." As you can see, in this example, instead of using I and the story being told from Little Red Riding Hood's perspective, it's still being told from her perspective, but instead we're using third person pronouns such as she. The next type of point of view is third person omniscient. Third person omniscient is from an all-seeing or all-knowing perspective. Kind of like in this picture. We can see everything from above. That's what third person omniscient is like in a story. The author shows you everyone's perspective in third person omniscient. Omni is a prefix which means all in Latin, and scient means seeing in Latin. So put those together and you have all seeing. Here's an example from Little Red Riding Hood, the same excerpt on how it would be applied in third-person omniscient. Little Red Riding Hood opened the door to Grandmother's room and stepped inside. She sniffed lightly. There was a strange smell in the room that she didn't like. She squinted at Grandma. Why was the room so dark? "Hello, my dear, come closer." The wolf patted the bedspread beside him. The girl needed to be closer so she couldn't avoid the attack. The wolf's mouth watered in anticipation of this juicy snack. Grandma's voice was huskier than normal. Well, she was sick after all. Little Red moved closer to the bed until she could see Grandma. What was wrong with Grandma's eyes? "What big eyes you have today, Grandma!" Drat, the girl sounded suspicious. He would have to quickly reassure her so she didn't leave. "All the better to see you with, my dear." As you can see in this example, we no longer have the perspective from Red Riding Hood's perspective, but we have it from an all-knowing perspective, so we now can see what the wolf is thinking or how the wolf is feeling. The next and last of the third person point of view is objective third person. In objective third person, the reader doesn't see any of the character's thoughts or feelings. They think of it like a camera is recording an event. It only captures what is visible. So it doesn't give you an insight into how the characters are feeling or what they're thinking. So here's that same excerpt using objective third person. Little Red Riding Hood opened the door to Grandmother's room and stepped inside. She sniffed lightly. She squinted at Grandma. "Hello, my dear, come closer." Grandma patted the bedspread beside her. Little Red moved closer to the bed. "What big eyes you have today, Grandma." "All the better to see you with, my dear." As you can tell in this example, there was no hint of how either Little Red Riding Hood or the wolf felt. So that is an example of how third person objective would be used. In this lesson, I used two different references, so here they are. So don't forget to do your summary and ask your higher level thinking questions. Make sure you have those ready tomorrow in class. If for some reason you don't understand one of these points of view, you can go back over this video or you can come with your questions tomorrow to class. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.